Climate Smart Anaesthesia.
Hello, my name is 𝐂𝐿𝐴𝐧. I'm the president and CEO of 𝐵LUE Technologies. I'm going to talk to you about Climate Smart Anaesthesia. Very little known fact regarding the number of anesthetic agents that are used and what's actually consumed by patients and what is actually put out into the environment. On average, there's about 30 liters of anesthetic agent used in every single operating room, and 60,000 operating rooms in North America alone. Patients only consume about 5% of that anesthetic agent. The rest is vented into the environment. There are three major anesthetic agents that are currently being used in inhalation anesthetics: sevoflurane, desflurane, and isoflurane. They each have a different chemical composition, and they each have a global warming potential or even an ozone depleting potential. As you're probably aware, there's been a lot of action being taken on a global basis to combat climate change. Montreal in 1987, there was a large group that looked at finding a way to reduce the global impact of the ozone hole that was developing over Antarctica. They declared a bit of a success as they were starting to reduce that, and they were phasing out these ozone-depleting agents, like the isoflurane I showed you in the previous slide. However, the other two agents were being continued to use in a much larger capacity. And unfortunately, when you start looking at hospital-based global warming, it is not being controlled by regulators, so this is going unchecked. The global warming potential of these agents are thousands of times more than carbon dioxide, and they continue to increase on an annual basis. You can see the global warming impact of these agents over time, and by 2030, we're looking at almost 4 million tons of CO2 equivalent being put out in the environment just from surgical procedures. So this, if you were to take a look at the global warming impact, and you started to look at finding a way to give yourself a carbon credit for reducing those agents, you'd have to plant about 45 million trees on an annual basis. Now, most people are buying into some of these carbon credits. They're planting trees in Brazil. Unfortunately, that doesn't help the surrounding communities where these gases are actually being released. Another thing to be concerned about with these gases is the impact on the health of the community. These are recognized as occupational health hazards, and one of the reasons they're vented out of the operating room is because they do have a very large potential for lots of health hazards. Unfortunately, the people in the surrounding community are not aware of this. So what can be done to eliminate these greenhouse gases? Right now, there's a very large push in the anesthetic community to switch from desflurane to sevoflurane. Sevoflurane has a carbon credit or a global warming potential about half that of desflurane. Operating rooms are also looking at decreasing the amount of anesthetic they're using by decreasing the flow coming out of their anesthetic machines. And finally, there's a push towards reusing more injectables rather than the inhalation anesthetics. Injectables were actually around before inhalation anesthetics, so it's not likely that you're going to get a lot of people going back to the old way of doing business. There's something else that could be done. These things that could be done really have only one potential impact, and that is reducing the amount of global warming potential. There's a solution that can eliminate the global warming potential, and that is something that we call sustainable anesthetic recovery. We have a technology now that can basically capture the waste anesthetic before it's put in the environment. We can bring it back to our facility, extract that anesthetic waste from the canisters. The canisters are regenerated and brought back to the hospital, so that is a cyclical aspect. We then take that extracted anesthetic, put it through another manufacturing process, and we create a branded generic anesthetic that can then be resold to the hospitals. This allows us to completely eliminate the global impact of the waste anesthetic gases before they're pumped into the environment. So we think every strategy counts. It's a great idea to do all the other aspects, but again, if you can look at eliminating rather than reducing, why not add that to your armamentarium? And we really believe that global healthcare communities should take full advantage of every opportunity they have to reduce these greenhouse gases. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to including this very simple but organic intelligence as we start looking at ways to look for artificial intelligence.